PsychTalks. I'm Shah, your host for the session today. I am the CEO and Director for ICHA Support Foundation. And ICHA Support Foundation, as an organization, as you all know, is dedicated towards helping people improve their mental health. So, as a part of that, we are coming up with these episodes where we're talking about meditation, how meditations can help all of you improve your mental health. And we are adding an element of research to meditation so that you realize and recognize that a lot of what we are doing, also what people have benefited from in a documented manner. So it's not just something that we're talking in the abstract sense. There are documented, quantifiable evidences of the fact that people have benefited from a lot of these processes that we are going to talk about now. About PsychTalks for meditation, the idea is to be able to discuss meditations, different types of meditations, different researches on meditations, and then not just clarify those researches for all of you, but also more importantly, bring those meditations into your life by talking about them and providing you with step-by-step processes that you can follow as a part of your day-to-day life. So I hope while you are watching this episode and the next episodes that we ask in the coming weeks, you all can benefit from the same. Today, we have with us Rajnikant Panda and Bala. Both of them, I'm glad that you are here because we would love to ask you a lot of questions. Today's episode is about learning the scientific approach behind Rajyoga meditation. I'm going to give both of your introductions, but briefly before that, if any of you would like to say something, please. Balaji, we are not able to hear you.
Sorry, I'm saying meditation is very easy. It's not too complicated, just that we need to know the right process. So I'm glad iCares has taken it up to share it with the rest of the world about it through this platform.
Perfect. Thank you. Anything, Rajnikant bhai, that you would like to add?
Thank you, Nitin, and thanks, ICA and SpRAC going to organize this wonderful session to explain meditation and its meditation practice, how help the brain and human lifestyle. So I would say it's scientifically now quite of research work done on meditation, and all over the world now they are quite interested to understand how meditation help to reorganize the brain networks, how it's helped to the brain to lifestyle. So I'll be glad to share with you in the coming couple of minutes. So thanks for that.
Perfect. Thank you both of you for joining us over here today. I'm going to quickly begin with introductions for Rajnikant bhai. So brother Rajnikant is a computational neuroscientist and a PhD student at the University of Liege. He has also done his Masters of Engineering in Applied Electronics from Anna University, Chennai. Graduated November 2015. And B.Tech Bachelor of Technology in Biomedical Engineering from Biju, Patnaik, University of Technology. He is also a student of Brahma Kumaris, Ishwariya Vishwa Vidyalaya from 2005 and a member of the SpRAC wing from 2010. His research interest is to understand human brain functions on various spectrums of altered states of consciousness from subjective state. That is meditation, hypnosis, to pharmacology, to pathology. He started his neuroscience research work in 2009 at IIT-Delhi as scientific officer at NIMHANS, India, and currently is working at CHU Hospital, University of Liege, Belgium. Welcome, Rajikant bhai, once again.
Thank you so much, Nitin.
And
for your brief introduction.
Thank you. And the next time I'm going to give you a brief introduction about Bala bhai. So Bala Kishore is a Vice President, Transformation Search Software, He is professionally certified coach as accredited by International Coaching Federation. Certification from Manchester Business School, UK, 2002. M.Tech in Computer Science and Engineering, he has been practicing Rajyoga meditation since 1993. Member of Youth, SpRAC, IT wing of Brahma Kumaris, coordinator of Brahma Kumaris, India, IIT. He has been giving lectures on various topics related to mind, medicines, motivation, management, leadership, and meditation, including improvement of soft skills for more than 15 years. So welcome, Bala. I'm glad to have you here. Okay. So just before we get into the question and answer, this is a reminder for all of you who are watching us today that, as I said earlier, one of the reasons why we are doing these episodes is because we want you to understand the importance of focusing on mental health. While we are talking about meditation, and meditation can really help you in improving your mental state, don't think of it as a replacement to visit a mental health practitioner if you need to visit one. So please remember that there are places where self and it can really take you to heights. At the same time, there are places where who can help you, guide you, support you may be equally important. And the two don't have to be a replacement for one another. They can work simultaneously. Right? Now, moving on to today's episode. So, who should I ask the first question to?
Go ahead. You can start with Rajnikant.
Okay. So, in fact, since you said I can go with Rajnikant, I'm going to ask you the questions. You is concentration, and how is it different from meditation? Bala.
Okay, so I'll take that up. See, concentration means focusing on one thought or one set of related thoughts and ignoring other thoughts that come to our mind. An easier way to understand is ekagrata. Ek ki agrata. That means when one thought or one set of related thoughts become predominant in our mind, that is when we say we are concentrating on that particular thought or set of thoughts. And when we talk about meditation, concentration is a part of that meditative practice. Meditation comes from the Latin word called meditare. Meditare means to contemplate, to think, to ponder upon. That is what we call as meditation. And in the Rajyoga meditation, we have 5 steps. First, you relax yourself. So there is relaxation component. Then you take a few thoughts to contemplate upon, to start thinking upon. That is contemplation. And as you keep contemplating, you start focusing. So the third step is concentration. And as you keep reflecting on those set of thoughts, you start becoming an embodiment. You start experiencing it. Like if I feel or if I start practicing that I am peaceful, then I start becoming an embodiment of that peace, even if it is for those few minutes. That is realization. And the 5th step is actual meditation, when I become an embodiment and spread the vibrations all around. So relaxation, contemplation, concentration, realization, and meditation. So these are the 5 steps in Rajyoga meditation. And concentration means to be able to focus on a thought or on a set of related thoughts.
Rajnikant, anything that you would like to add to this?
No, thanks. Bala explained it better briefly.
Perfect. Brilliant. And Balabai, there's one last question because we had this question in the previous episode. So I'm asking you this. Can you also help us on how we can apply the 1-minute meditation in our daily routine?
Yes. The first thing is give up this belief that we can't meditate in 1 minute. Because 1 minute is actually not 1 minute, it is 60 seconds. So when you pick up a thought, the easiest way to do that 1 minute meditation is first relax yourself by sitting in a comfortable posture. Very, very important, which might take about maybe 5 seconds. Then decide on the thought that you would want to practice. Takes another 5 seconds. Say a simple thing like, I am peaceful. I am powerful. I am loveful. So you can visualize yourself as a point of light in the middle of the forehead and then experience this. So for the next 40 seconds, even if you take away the 20 seconds of preparation, you get 40 seconds of practice. And that 40 seconds is all you need to relax yourself and to start focusing. It can be done. I do this at the beginning of our meetings and at the end of every meeting. Both the times we do this 60-second to 90-second meditation. If you're okay, we can do that now.
Please go ahead.
Yeah. So sit straight. Have your both feet firmly on the ground. Don't fold your arms. Don't fold your legs. Take a deep breath. Breathe deeply and slowly. As you relax yourself, gently bring your attention to the middle of your forehead. Visualize a shining bright white star in the middle of your forehead. Gently make this thought, I am peaceful. I am spreading the rays of peace all around me. Through your mind's eye, see the white rays of peace being spread from the shining bright white star in the middle of your forehead. I am peaceful. I am peaceful. I am peaceful. Take a deep breath and come back to where you are. That's it.
Perfect. Thank you, Balabhai. I hope all of you went through this with us and you were able to experience this quick 1 minute meditation at the start of uh, the interaction that we are now just beginning with. Uh, Quickly, what will be the benefits of doing this daily?
There are 3 principles that I have learned through Raj Yoga, which are very important even for mental health. Think less, think slow, think better. Think less, think slow, think better. So, by practicing this 1 minute meditation at least once an hour, or if you are too busy, at least every half an hour, you will start realizing that you can slow down your thoughts. And when you slow down your thoughts, it becomes easy for you to start focusing. And when you focus, you start becoming aware of your environment and you can make appropriate decisions rather than becoming anxious.
That's very interesting. That's very useful. I'm sure a lot of people would benefit from this. Uh, Now moving on to the research. And I'm going to ask the question first to Rajnikant bhai. So Rajnikant bhai, before we go ahead, can you explain the context of this research paper and what was the objective of doing this study?
Yeah. Uh, Thanks again for giving me opportunity to interact with you and explain the research work which we have done in a couple of years ago. So just now Bala bhai explained how what is uh, meditation and concentration, and you all uh, feel or you all experience what is meditation, or when we do, even if it's a 1 minute or a couple of hours or a couple of years meditation practice, how it makes feel. So you all agree that meditation is not just concentration, it's beyond something. And we neuroscientists believe meditation is helps to improve the lifestyle, not only improve the lifestyle but also change the brain dynamics. It make a lot of plasticity and reorganization in the brain. So the research work which we have done in 2012 and make published into completed in 2016 at NIMHAS is to understand the effect of meditation the, on our brain and the reorganization of brain networks in the brain for meditation practice. So here we studied three main aspects. One is default mode network, so-called DMN, which is a functional network and more associated with the conscious state. Second is a microstate, which is represent the brain neuronal oscillation. And the third aspect is the temporal dynamics, how this default mode network and neural oscillation is changed across time. So we studied the effect of meditation in brain through these three aspects, and the objective of our study was how long-term meditation practice changes brain reorganization, how it uh, helps to form plasticity, and is that form any plasticity. That was our first objective. And the second objective was what happened in the brain when we do meditation, uh, especially in the context of default mode network and neural oscillation. uh, that was our two main objective, and we did this. We studied this objective using simultaneous EEG and functional MRI. These are two main equipment in neuroscience. So the EEG, which measure brain electrical activity, and the fMRI, which measure brain functional images through magnetic resonance imaging.
Okay, perfect. Thank you. And what was there a specific meditation practice that was used for the research paper?
We use long-term Rajyoga meditator practitioner who were doing everyday Rajyoga meditation practice from more than 10 years as per Brahma Kumaris Ishwariya Vidyalaya meditation practice. And all the long-term Rajyoga meditation practitioners were doing everyday meditation practice at least 1 hour. So these are long-term practitioners from.
Okay, so all right. So let me take this question now to Balabhai. So Balabhai in Raj Yoga meditation, because that was the meditation that has been taken for this research, there is a lot of focus on soul consciousness, right? Uh, how to identify whether I'm soul consciousness or not? What are the parameters of being soul consciousness?
One of the key elements in Raj Yoga meditation is soul consciousness. There are actually two aspects that differentiate Raj Yoga meditation from any other meditation. One is soul consciousness, the second one is God consciousness. So Raj Yoga meditation can be considered as a set of alternate beliefs which focus on these two aspects, soul consciousness and God consciousness. When you say soul consciousness, through Raj Yoga, you are made aware that you are a being. You are not this body, you are the master of this body. You are that being, that energy, that light which runs this body. So you and this body are different. This is very important. This is the foundational belief of Raj Yoga meditation. When you learn that you are different, then it becomes easy for you to detach. Very important. I'm using my words very carefully. Learning that you are different from this body will help you to detach from this body, especially in your thinking, in your mind, during your practice. That detachment is what, or dissociation from this feeling that I am body, is the foundation for Raj Yoga meditation. And the Raj Yoga meditation makes it very simple by giving specific instructions saying you are a point of light shining in the middle of your forehead and governing or managing this whole body. So, by understanding and visualizing yourself as a point of light, again, one who is eternal, one who is the master, one who is the creator, one who is the supplier of that energy which makes this body move. By having these beliefs, by understanding them, and by learning the difference between myself, that is the soul that I am, and this body, I learn to detach myself. I start experiencing myself as a being of light. That is soul consciousness. So when you start practicing, I will give you a few signs of your experience of soul consciousness. One of those signs is you will feel very light. It's fascinating when I started learning about Raj Yoga meditation, how beautifully it is presented. The more you visualize yourself as light, the brightness, the light I'm talking about, the more you will start feeling light, halkapan. So there is a very, very strong relationship between you visualizing yourself as light and you experiencing lightness. So that is one of the very first signs of practice of soul consciousness. And the second element is you start feeling that you are a bag of virtues and not a bundle of weaknesses. Because you start feeling that you are the master, you are the creator, you are eternal. All these feelings start emerging through this practice of soul consciousness. And because of this practice, and because you start identifying the person in front of you also as a soul, all their acquired characteristics which are moving you away from that person, they start dissolving, and you start seeing that other person also as a point of light which is full of virtues. And this is what improves your compassion and your empathy and your relationship with that other person. So these are some of the signs of practice of soul consciousness.
Perfect. Thank you. So it's actually quite interesting how philosophies and processes merge, right? So in hypnosis, as a part of coaching and therapy sessions that we take, both as hypnosis and NLP, there are so many techniques where we actually look at disassociation as a way to help people look at their own life from a different point of view. NLP has a process called perceptual position, which is purely based on the idea of disassociation and looking outside. In hypnosis, when you're looking at certain healing processes like inner child or regression, one of the things things that we actively focus with intense negative emotion is to be able to disassociate a person so that they get their experience from a distance and recognize they are not their experiences. Their experiences are, well, what happened? It's something that they've gone through, that they've experienced in their life, but they are a lot more than that. And it's amazing how each of these fields, while they are different in their own ways, they kind of come together and have a common underlying theme that works.
That's exactly the point. That is the void that Raj Yoga fills in a very beautiful and very simple manner. Every other technique that you take, you need to struggle in order to help people to dissociate and move away from their actual experience, lived experience, to separate it. But Raj Yoga, in one stroke, with that simple principle of soul consciousness, says, you are a soul, not this body. Finish. Once I recognize and start believing that difference, the dissociation becomes natural. And
And
whatever you just mentioned, it becomes very, very easy.
so actually, that's the thing, that each of these are cause and effect of everything. So it's interesting, for example, when Balabai spoke about once you start believing that you're soul consciousness, it becomes a lot more easier for you to be able to experience a lot of other things. And that's where I was actually coming, that the challenge that we have noticed a lot of people facing, especially the ones who are not meditators, who are planning to get into meditation but have not really experienced it, is the fact that it's very difficult for them to recognize that their soul consciousness. And without that recognition, there could be a major challenge that they face, because unless they have that belief, to be able to experience that becomes difficult. And probably that's where some of these processes that I was talking about in terms of hypnosis and NLP become very handy, because you don't need belief in the idea that, you know, these are, some of these processes are so beautiful that they, through a step-by-step sequence of things, can really help you experience things. And your experience then makes you realize that, oh yes, I am actually soul consciousness. So rather than starting from a point that I'm soul consciousness and experiencing it, you can at times experience it first, and through that experience, your entire belief, your entire dynamics of how you're going to perceive your life begins to change completely. So it's superb, the fact that these fields come together. They help us experience the kind of things that we experience, and as we call it in our line of work, it helps us create transformation, and those transformations can be really, really powerful.
Yeah,
Brilliant.
there is
So
one very simple
yeah,
way I can share, if that is okay, which
yeah,
makes it even more simpler. I'll give you a tool that you also can use, what I call as going to the balcony, through a simple, less than a minute story. So there is this couple that goes to the dance floor during the weekend, and while they are dancing, their fellow dancers keep stepping over their toes. So this happens a few times, they get irritated. And then the guy says, honey, let's get out of the dance floor and get to the balcony. So when they move to the balcony, they see an entirely different picture. Because that day being holiday, there are too many dancers. And while dancing, when they were moving to the VIP enclosure, the security folks were pushing them. And each time the security folks were pushing the dancers, they were stepping over each other's toes. Where was this visible from? From the balcony. Almost all our life, we make decisions while we are busy dancing on the dance floor. Once in a while, if we can stop dancing, get out of the dance floor, get to the balcony, suddenly your view expands. And switch off the projector, which is typically always on, sit on a blameless chair, and then start looking at the dance floor.
perfect. Brilliant. So I hope all of you are watching this episode right now can find these little nuggets that we are talking about and start applying that as a part of your life. These conversations, once you apply it, can really make a lot of difference in the way you're perceiving your life, in the way you perceive people around you. And well, probably conflicts that you think are conflicts may begin to merge away, because you'll realize that we all at the end of the day come from the same source, right?
Because
So yeah.
there is, in all the therapy that you do, you must have seen that the focus is to help the person separate the facts from the story I am narrating myself about those facts. Once I am able to focus on my facts, then I can get handle on my story, which I know as a master I am creating it. Then a lot of my self-generated sorrow reduces. So by simply asking these two questions, I can move to balcony. What are the facts in the situation? What is the story I am telling myself? That's it.
Perfect. Brilliant. So, Rajnikant bhai, my next question is for you. Going back to the research, in your research, you've mentioned about the default mode network and neuroplasticity, right? So, before we go further, can you explain this in layman's term?
Yeah. So default mode network is a brain network. In our brain, there is a multiple brain area, and every area they have a specific functions. For example, language. When I'm speaking, the part of my brain area which got activated, which is responsible to make that function. However, when we are doing any function, for example, we are conversing. That doesn't mean I'm only speaking. I'm listening and I'm thinking, and my intellectual also activated. So forming all, they make a networks. That means multiple network are connected synchronizingly and performing a task. So when a person performing a task, there are a different network which get activated and play a role. So in neuroscience, there is a many different networks. One of the main network is default mode network, and this network main function is when brain have a thought specific thought less process or kind of mind wandering or like what is a spontaneous thought, it get activated. And when it we have a specific work like cognitive function or language, it get deactivated and synchronizing to each different cognitive function to make it uh, flexibility. So, in a single word, I can say that this is an important network in the brain, which uh, uh, which play balancing between the mind wandering and random thoughts and cognitive functions. It also have the role for conscious state. So when our brain have lost the consciousness or altered the consciousness, for example, lost the consciousness means during anesthesia stage or during head injury, when a patient got unconscious, the network get deactivated. Or if a person is at meditative state. So Balavai and Nitin, you explained, during meditation we basically dissociate. That means we are reducing our awareness and awakeness from the surrounding, from the external and internal surrounding. So in that situation, this is a network which play an important role to be dissociate and to help the brain state to reach in a certain state where we can associate to a higher cognitive functions. So that's the main role of default mode network. And the other hand, which you ask, the plasticity. So neuroplasticity is also called brain plasticity. In our brain, there is a multiple neurons, and these neurons fire every time, and it make a certain connection across the brain regions. So uh, everyday life in our whole life period, when the brain networks are altered, they reorganize, they form a new network, they deform some network, and this forming and reforming phenomena is called neuroplasticity. So uh, every time our brain doing some plasticity, that's always done. But when we are doing certain kind of practice, for it could be a good practice or it could be a bad practice. Like if you are uh, drinking every day alcohol, or we are playing something game, then our brain also makes some plasticity, and it form some certain kind of network which is harm to the brain. So in the other hand, when we do a good things, for example, good thinking, doing meditation, doing yoga, doing exercise, our brain forms certain connections, and these connections make a new networks which help brain to perform well-being or to perform higher cognitive function, and uh, uh, up to certain period, like after a couple of months or a year, it make a plasticity, it make a functional brain changes which stay across the time. So I think it is clear.
So,
Brilliant.
Nitin,
I
I
think
can
that makes
show
sense.
Nitin, I can show a simple slide to summarize
Sure,
what Rajnikant by just mentioned so that the viewers can understand what neuroplasticity is.
sure.
Can you please enable my share screen option?
You have just niche. You will next to the video. There will be an option for share screen.
No, it's cut off for me.
When you click on it, it will open.
Acha, it'll open. Okay. It's not allowing me. Okay, entire screen. Okay, allow. That's fine. Are you able to see my screen?
Yes.
Okay, so this is the slice of the brain before we learn something. So as you keep practicing what Rajnikant Bhai mentioned, as you keep repeating this with attention, whether it is study, solving math, or learning music, it can be any activity, positive activity or negative activity. This is what happens to the brain. So now you see there are more connections that are formed between those neurons, and you will see some more neurons also. So this property of the brain to change from this state to this state by forming more neural connections corresponding to the activity that you are repeating is what we call as neuroplasticity. And this neuroplasticity is a value neutral property, as Rajnikant Bhai was mentioning. You repeat something positive also, these neural circuits will form. You repeat something negative like surfing web or watching videos or playing mobile games, then also these neural circuits will form. The beauty is once the neural circuits form, the amount of effort that is needed to repeat a task reduces drastically. That is how you learn driving a car, riding a bike, or learning how to cook a dish. All are possible through this property of neuroplasticity. So you can remember the brain as a tathastu machine, and the property of the brain that makes it as a tathastu machine is this neuroplasticity. You want to do something positive, brain says tathastu. You want to do something negative, then also brain says tathastu. It is for you to choose.
Perfect. So for those of you who generally find it difficult to change your habits, please remember this. This is one of the reasons. Creating a habit is easier because there is no existing connections. You're creating new connections. Breaking a habit is more difficult because now you have to create new connections and you have to break the existing connections that you have. And that makes it a bit more challenging and a bit more difficult. Now, going forward, I hope that's clear for all of you about what these two terms mean, mode of network, the default mode network, and neuroplasticity. If you have any questions or if you need any clarity, please ask us in the comments and we'll be more than happy to take it up and clarify it for all of you. Moving forward. So, in brief, could you also explain the entire methodology of this research, Rajnikant? Like what was the subject
Yes.
classification process
So
and how much time the subjects practiced?
okay, yeah. So Ajay said already we try to understand the brain reorganization and neural dynamics due to the meditation practice. Here we recruited the long-term meditator practitioner, 20 long-term meditator practitioner, and 20 non-meditators. That means they are not regularly practiced. They could be practiced once a while, but they were not practicing regularly. And now we matched age, gender, education, language, and ethnicity for both the group, and it's equally distributed. It have a normal equal distribution. That means the age range, it was 22 to 45 year. All the subjects were more than 13 year of education, and they were science student. And their profession was IT, and they were multilingual with first language as Canada, and their profession was IT. So we have a very narrow subject recruitment, so it's independent from any language or ethnicity. Second, the subject which we have recruited, they performed 3 different tasks. First, it was resting state. We instructed to all the subject to close their eye and be at relaxed state. They should not be perform any cognitive function like thinking something particular or doing any mathematical calculation in the mind, just to be relaxed. So it was one task which is resting state. Then we instructed to all the subject to be in meditative state, so-called soul consciousness state. Already Bala and you, Nitin, have described the soul consciousness state. So we instructed all the meditator subject to be at soul consciousness meditative state. So and the third was cognitive function. So we given some cognitive task. For example, we given the language task, and we given a working memory task and the attention task, and we captured their brain signal and images. Okay. More specifically, if I go to the meditation state, so in the meditation state, before we record their brain signal and brain image, we given them 5 minutes where we didn't record the signal, and we instructed to them to be dissociate. So during that 5 minutes, or during at starting, they were at dissociate from external and internal state. So the external state is a sound, light, or their work, their food, or their family members. Those thoughts, they should not be have those thoughts. And then association. Association means they should associate to the soul consciousness state, which is taught by the Brahma Kumaris organization, which very broadly Bala just few minutes before explained. So during meditation practice, all the meditator were at soul consciousness state. So this was the experiment which we did, and we recorded all the subject brain signal through EEG. EEG is a machine which measure brain electrical signal, so-called electrical encephalography, and we record functional MRI same time. Functional MRI measures brain functional images in a sudden time. We recorded all resting state, meditation state, and all cognitive tasks for 10 minutes. So we have 10 minutes of data, both EEG and functional MRI, by which we try to analyze their brain dynamics. So it was the this experiment and the machine which we used. We have, as I said, we have used mainly 3 methods. One is default mode network, which is which measured from the functional MRI, and microstate, which is measured from the EEG signal, and we combine both the methods through their temporal characteristics.
Perfect. Brilliant.
Thanks. This was
anything else you would like to add, Rajnikant bhai? Were you saying something? Because I said in between, I thought you were just completing something.
No, thanks. This was mainly the experiment, and yeah, I'll be when we talk about the result, I could more explain the details.
All right, perfect. Thank you. Bala, while we were talking about soul consciousness, and because obviously a major part of this particular research revolves around Rajyoga meditation and soul consciousness, there's an interesting question that someone asked me. If I don't believe in soul existence, how can this meditation be helpful to me?
there is another alternate way that we can define meditation as. Meditation can be defined as a combination of relaxation and positive self-reflection. Very simple definition, where there is no concept of soul involved. You know you are thinking. Okay? Now, you also know that you can change the direction of your thoughts. That's it. These are the only two things that are required for you to start practicing meditation. Now, by physically relaxing yourself and by using the element of positive self-reflection and a little bit of visualization, you can start reducing the speed of your thoughts. Very, very important. As I explained in the beginning, the result of the meditation or the process of the meditation is to help you think slow, think less, and think better. So, another definition that you can give for meditation is making appointment with yourself and speaking with yourself with lots of love is also meditation. Conscious generation of positive, powerful, and elevated thoughts. Conscious generation of positive, powerful, and elevated thoughts is also meditation. So there is for you to experience the benefits of meditation, to start experiencing them, it is not required for you to believe in the concept of the soul. It is enough if you acknowledge that you have a mind and you are able to think, and through this relaxation, you can slow down your thinking. That's it.
Perfect. So for those of you who are listening to us and watching this episode right now, one of the things that we suggest to people, because there are times when I get a lot of clients who will tell me that, Nitin, I'm just not able to meditate because when I close my eyes, there are too many thoughts running in my head. Right? So this is an interesting discussion that I and Bala were having, that one, meditation is not about you not thinking, right? You having a thought is okay. Now, if you are trying to experience a state of thoughtlessness, or if you're trying to reduce the amount of thoughts that you have in your mind, right? One is that there are different structured processes that you can follow. Because we also spoke about having a conversation with ourselves and having a positive affirmation with ourselves, there are these two interesting processes that we use, right? And they give us some remarkable results. See if any of you would like to try this out. One is when you are sitting and trying to meditate, so as to say, and if you have a thought in your head, one way to do it is ask yourself, so what next? And for every thought you have, just ask yourself what next. You'll be surprised after the fifth or the sixth thought, the mind actually doesn't know what to answer, and it literally goes into a blank space. The reason is it's not expecting you to ask those questions. When you keep trying to avoid those thoughts, the chances are that those thoughts will persist, and if anything, they may become more forceful. The moment you either become witness to those thoughts or you start having a conversation with that thought, it's funny how those thoughts can start kind of disappearing, right? So this is one small, and you could kind of do it at any time, at any place you want to do it. It's a 30-second, like asking why is not even 30 seconds, right? And second that we recommend is the use of gibberish, whichever way you want to talk about it. So an interesting thing to do is close your eyes and just talk to yourself in through demonstration. Do this for 30 seconds and you'll be surprised that your mind again goes blank because it doesn't know what hit it. Even when you are having thoughts, those thoughts are in language that you can understand. The moment you go into this gibberish kind of a conversation with yourself, your mind doesn't know how to respond to that. And it literally goes blank for a couple of moments, which can then give you the opportunity to do what Balabai mentioned, that you can actually carry on with a more positive conversation, a more affirmative conversation with yourself, because now there's nothing that's coming in the way for you to be able to do that. Right? So these are like really simple, really quick processes that you can follow, that you can make use of. Yeah, Balabai.
So here I would like to clarify and completely remove one very popular myth about meditation, which is stopping lots of interested people from trying meditation. The first sutra of Patanjali Yoga Sutras, which deals in depth about this concept of meditation, is Yogasya Chitta Vritti Nirodha. Yoga is mistranslated as meditation. Chitta is mistranslated as mind. Vritti is mistranslated as thought. Nirodha is mistranslated as stopping or not having. So you have four mistranslations that gave rise to this myth by someone who did not understand the Indian framework of mind and mistranslated chitta as mind and started saying meditation in Indian context means to stop thinking. Nonsense. Because simple common sense, use your common sense. How will you know that you stopped thinking? By making another thought. So as long as you are alive, you cannot stop thinking. So do not aim for stopping of your thoughts when you are sitting in meditation, because that is a wrong definition. It's absolutely okay to get a waste thought. It will come. More thoughts will come, but that is absolutely okay. This self acceptance that it is okay to get waste thoughts will remove a lot of unnecessary stress. And once you accept it, then suddenly you will see your thoughts slowing down because you are not resisting them. Because of this wrong definition, so many well meaning people are not even practicing meditation. Unfortunate.
So I'm seeing in the comments there's Subramani, who is also there with us. He is one of those people who's really, really good when it comes to meditation. I have been through some of his episodes where he has done certain live sessions and so on, and he has been remarkable. So for those of you who don't know, please check out Subramani's work, and he's really good when it comes to meditations and some of the episodes and some of the sessions that he does live. So, and he has commented a couple of things about some of the meditations. So, please check out his work as well. It's quite effective. Also, when I and Balabai were talking about meditation earlier before the session, mentioned to me that they have come up with a crash course in meditation for people who want to get started. So I'm also sharing the link for all of you so that you can go and check out that particular course. This is Balabai's website. And I'm sure you would benefit from the same. Someone has just asked me, can I share the full name in the chat? Okay. So the full name is Subramani. All right, coming back to the research, now that you've spoken about how to apply meditation in our day-to-day life. So, Rajnikant bhai, uh, in your study, what were the major changes you have noticed in the long-term meditation practitioners, in relation to non-meditators?
Yes. So, as we had previously discussed, the default mode network, e.g., microstate, brain plasticity. Uh, Before start, we study the brain dynamics using EEG and functional MRI. We had a hypothesis that this default mode network have some reorganization, and our brain oscillation, brain dynamics have a certain pattern which could be altered in during meditator or during meditation practice. So, as per our hypothesis, what we find from functional MRI, from brain functional imaging in default mode network that get altered. So I missed one thing to say you. Default mode network actually have a couple of brain region, that is frontal and posterior, the back part of the brain, and the temporal part and some part of frontal area. So every brain area have a different function for that particular network or for the default mode network. So in meditator, in the long-term meditator, what we find, there was a significantly decreased activity in posterior part and increased activity in the frontal and temporal part. So what it is mean, what we interpret as the posterior part is, previously many studies they have uh, in suggested that the posterior part is basically for the mind wandering and for the loss of consciousness and dissociation process. So we interpret that the deactivation of posterior region is helps to uh, de-dissociate and to reduce the thought processes or to reduce the mind wandering thoughts. In the other hand, the frontal and temporal increases is basically for the higher cognitive functions. As you are listening from last half an hour or 45 minutes, meditation is not just a attention, it have a lot of association process. It's uh, in scientifically it's a higher cognitive state. It's so the meditator, due to their long time of meditation practice in their frontal and temporal area, there have some plasticity which made changes in this default mode network. So uh, another thing, the changes which we seen in the temporal area, this area basically for memory or for autobiographical memory. So when we do meditation practice, we basically also additional to the attention dissociation process, we also use some of our autobiographical memory, which gives us which make us to stay at the meditative state. So that we seen or that got reflected from the functional MRI. So in a single term, I can say that using functional MRI, we find that reduction of posterior region in DMN, which indicate the lower thought fluctuation, lower mind wandering, and higher dissociative process in meditative in meditator compared to healthy control. And the meditator have a higher frontal and temporal activity, which indicate meditator have a could be have some amount of higher cognitive processes as compared to the healthy control. When it comes to the meditation state, we also find the similar pattern. This posterior region is further decreases during meditative state, and the frontal activity again increases at meditative states. This confirm the decrease of posterior region and increase of frontal region is correlated to the meditation practice. On the other hand, we find that the EEG microstate duration and occurrence are increased. So, as I have previously mentioned, the EEG microstate is basically correspond to the neuronal oscillation. So, how much in our the neuronal changes is occurring across the time. In the layman term, we could say that it's basically representing the thought fluctuation. That's the nickname of EEG microstate is atom of thought. So we could think that if I have so many thoughts, so doing some mathematical and emotional processes, then my microstates will be fluctuating very highly. That means a state will be coming and next another state will be there, then another state will be there. On the other hand, if I have a focused, if I have a relaxed, or if I have a higher cognitive state, such as like meditation state, then my brain state could be higher, which we find from EEG microstate. We find the microstate which is linked to the DMN. That microstate duration is significantly increased in meditators. And when the meditators were doing meditation, this EEG microstate or DMN microstate got further increases. So this indicates meditation practice is help to reduce our thought fluctuation, or we have a lower thought processes during meditation state. So uh, uh, these two key we further explored using from their meditation practice. So as I said, we have a long-term meditators, but these long-term meditators are from a wide spectrum. Some meditators are from 10 years, some are 12 years, 15 years, up to 22 years. So as we have a broad spectrum, we subjectively recorded their how much number of year of practice they have and how much number of hours they have cumulative meditation practice. So this number of year of meditation practice and number of hours of meditation practice we correlated with the brain dynamics. Uh, and interestingly, or very interestingly, what we find, the DMN microstate which we find altered during meditation state and in meditator, that uh, correlated with their meditation practice. So what we find, uh, uh, the meditators, uh, uh, their meditation practice is negatively correlated with DMN microstate duration. So higher number of meditation have higher have lower differences between resting state or between rest and meditative state. That indicates uh, when we do meditation practice after long year of practice, the brain network altered, or the brain network have a plasticity, and their brain always.
Rajnikant bhai, we have just lost you over there. Okay, so while Rajnikant bhai comes back again and we carry on this conversation with him, I'm going through all the comments and I'm going to respond to all the comments. Viral bhai, you have asked about changing thought patterns, so I'm going to answer that question, and I'm going to ask Bala bhai and Rajnikant bhai to also answer that question. Uh, Tripti and Viral bhai, again, the recordings are available. They will be available on the IHR's YouTube and Facebook channels. I'm sharing the link with all of you for both, so you will be able to check it out. It will be by the title PsychTalks for Meditation, episode 4. So Bala joins again. The next question that I had, while Rajnikant bhai joins again, Bala bhai, the next question that I had for you was, personally speaking, what are the changes and experiences that you have gone through as a result of practicing Raj Yoga meditation in your life?
Good question. So this has definitely completely eliminated this thing called stress from my life, because the definition of stress I give is when I try to control things that are not in my control, the result is stress. I'm not saying I should not try to influence, but when I try to control, the result is stress. So understanding what is in my control, what is not in my control through the process of meditation helped me to completely eliminate this aspect of stress. And it also improved my ability to focus by not getting carried away with unnecessary distractions, because that's where the spiritual angle comes. So there are not too many material things that I'm after this 25 years of experience of meditation. It's not that I don't use. So there is a difference. I can use something as a master, or I can become a slave. So what Raj Yoga teaches me is to use the material things like a master, but not be enslaved by those. Because you start with this consciousness that I am the master and I am the creator. I can change my thoughts. I can change my relationships. I can become more powerful. I can learn, because both the spiritual and biological infrastructure that is necessary for my growth is with me. That was the fundamental realization through Raj Yoga meditation. And that
Perfect.
helped me a lot.
Perfect. So Rajnikant bhai, sorry, we just lost you over there. You were in the middle of your explanation.
Yes, I'm sorry. Yes. I'm sorry, it was some internet connection. I have, I think, a lower internet connection. So yeah, what I was saying, now we have correlated the year of number of meditation practice to the changes which we have seen in the brain. So the DMN microstate, which basically says that the brain stability or the how the brain alteration is happening, that we correlate with the duration, and we find negatively correlate. That means the uh, higher number of meditation practice, there have a lower differences between meditative state and non-meditative state. That means a person who have a long term of meditation practice, their brain always at meditative state, even if they were at rest or even if they were doing some cognitive task like doing walking, talking, or working something. State occurrence was not having any relationship with number of year of meditation practice. That indicates even if we have a small amount of meditation practice, our brain dynamics goes to meditative state, or the brain network or the reorganization which is happening in our brain, that's that's changing, and that's coming to the meditative state in a very few seconds. So this we have characterized as you have the privilege to study the temporal dynamics of the default mode network and brain oscillations. So uh, in a single term, I could that uh, using functional MRI and EEG, we find uh,
Okay, we've lost Bala bhai, it's Rajnikant bhai again, right when you were summarizing it. Okay, so he's back. Yep, so you were just summarizing it. Sorry, we lost you at the
yeah,
last one.
yeah. And it helps brain stability. That means during meditation or due to the meditation practice, our brain have a less, the brain will have a less thought fluctuation. It will have a higher stability. Any thought, it could be a what is attention thought, or it could be a cognitive thought, or it could be a specific thoughts. Those will be for a prolonged state, which basically help for our well-being and make plasticity in our brain. So this was our finding, which we find using that study from that study.
Perfect. So, Rajnikant bhai, I asked this question to Bala bhai, and I'm going to ask it to you as well, now that we are approaching the end. Personally speaking, what benefits you have experienced in your life as a result of meditation?
Yeah. So I am a meditator, and I'm practicing the Rajyoga meditation from last 20 years. And personally, I feel the brain, my lifestyle is changed, and uh, even if when I'm doing meditation or when I'm not doing meditation, I have the feeling or the change of my ability, the cognitive skill is quite different. And when I do a meditation before doing any work or any task, this is really have a higher impact when I am not doing and just going to work. So that I have also noticed using my research work, the work which I presented, we further studying, and it's ongoing. Maybe within 6 months, the research work will be published. So what we studied there, how our brain information is processing, means how
Yeah, Rajnikant.
Yeah. So how our brain information is getting processed, how the brain one region is transmitting or receiving or storing information. So what I find or what we have noticed till now, the brain is not only having a higher stability, having a higher cognitive, the brain region which have a cognitive, it's corresponding to the correct cognitive task, is increasing their activity as well. The brain network have a well organized and have a higher potential to transmit and receive the information during meditation state. That was one which we noticed recently. And another interesting result which we noticed, a long-term meditator, am I connected?
Yeah, you're audible. Yeah, you're audible.
Yes. Yeah. Long-term meditator have a higher connection, integration, not connection, integration. So the meditation practice increases brain integrity. So there have a different brain network which integrate along with each other, at rest and at cognitive functions. So I could say that meditation practice organize brain networks quite a well in terms of brain integration, in terms of brain information processing, in terms of brain stability.
Perfect. So since I've asked this question to the two of them, let me also answer this question, because it will be unfair if I don't answer this question and just put it to the two of them. So my life has changed tremendously as a result of combination of meditation and hypnosis. I got married as a result of that, so I don't think there's anything more than that that I need to say after that. Beyond that, yes, the ability to handle situations, the ability to manage what's happening around us, knowing how there are things that you can manage, there are things that you can't manage, and having patience in areas where you can't really do anything immediately are some of the most observable changes that I've noticed in my own life. For those of you who are not aware of the kind of work we do, please check out our work, because you'll realize that today everything that I'm doing, and not just everything that anyone associated to ICHAS is doing, they are able to do it because of us being able to regularly practice what we are talking about. So these episodes that we are doing for us is not just a way of being able to talk about things because meditation is a highly sought after topic right now. It's something that we have personally practiced, that we have personally experienced, and I can vouch for the benefits of all of this. And I'm sure the same can be said for Rajnikant, by that they've practiced it in their life and they've really experienced the results of it. Balabai, there is a question which is a follow-up to what you had mentioned. So I'm going to ask a question just before we end. BK Krati has asked, how does one define Nisankalpta if we do not aim at stopping the mind?
Good question. Before I answer that, can I share my screen? Because we spoke a lot about concentration, about focus, about meditation, and also a little bit about in the digitally distracted world we are. A few months ago, Penguin published my first book. So it's available on Amazon. So let me just show you the, I'm sorry, I'm doing a little bit of self-promotion, but the book has come out very well with a lot of science behind it. So are you able to see my screen?
Yes.
So it's very simple. How to Improve Concentration is the book that I have co-authored with my friends, Aditi Singhal and Sudhir Singhal. So we presented a lot of science behind, the neuroscience behind this concept of concentration, and gave some very interesting suggestions about how to improve our digital wellness and some very useful techniques to improve the concentration in our day-to-day life. Very useful for professionals and even for parents to teach these techniques to their kids, and it doesn't cost much. So it's available on the Amazon.in website too.
Perfect. And would you be able to share the link for that so that I can put it in the chat box?
Yeah, just give me a second.
And while Balabai does that,
Yeah.
he has given me an opportunity to talk about my book, so maybe I about it quickly in 2 minutes. I spoke about how yoga and meditation and hypnosis has changed my life. and I mentioned about me getting married as a result of that. So the entire experience that I have gone through was eventually converted into a book that we worked on, which is called Destiny of Choice. If you are looking for a really engaging love story, plus a real life experience of how meditation and hypnosis can help you achieve things that you would probably not even think of, then that is a book that I would highly recommend. I'm sharing first the link to Balabai's book. So for those of you who are interested, please check out that book for this is for concentration and being able to apply concentration as a part of your life. And the book link that I'm sharing is the next one, which is the book that we have worked on. It's in a conversation format. In fact, to be fair, the idea of the PsychTalks for meditation is a result from our book. When we were working on the book was worked upon in a conversation format, like we have a conversation right now, and we just took it forward from the book format into the digital format of live sessions and so on. So here's a link to my book. For all of you who want to really read about real life experience of how some amazing things can happen in your life as a result of these practices. I would highly recommend this book. It's available for free on Kindle Unlimited. If you have that, please go through and check it out. Is there any other question? I'll just check if there's any other question.
Last question about Nirsankalpta.
Yeah,
Let
please.
me clarify that state.
Yeah.
When you start meditating, you look at this concept of slowing down your thoughts, thinking slow and thinking less. You will reach a stage where you can decide what to think. Does not necessarily mean you are going blank. Effectively, what it means is you have reduced the speed of your thinking to such an extent that you can control your mind in such a way that you don't make a thought that you don't want to make.
Perfect. Brilliant. I hope that clarifies, Kriti, the question that you asked. I'm just checking if there's any other question which is left, and then we can. There are a lot of comments, so thank you everyone for commenting and for continuing with us. Also, I understand that there are times when certain parts of what we are discussing may be a bit difficult, and you may want to go through the same thing again. The videos are available on YouTube and Facebook both. You can check them out. Follow the channel so that you can also be notified about the next episode. By the way, the next episode will be next week, 7:30, same time. And I would love to see all of you at that time. When we are reaching the end, so I'm going to ask Rajnikant Bhai and Bala Bhai to give us like their closing comments about the same. Before that, I have a request to make from all of you. We have been running this initiative about encouraging more and more people to visit mental health practitioners. The reason is that while we all understand the importance of mental health, no one still seems to be willing to visit a mental health practitioner. That is a transition that is still a bit difficult for people to make. So we are requesting everyone to make a pledge, make an announcement that as and when I feel overwhelmed, I feel uncomfortable, or even if I feel that there's a scope for improvement and maybe someone can help me, ask me questions and guide me towards living a happier, healthier, more fulfilling life, then I would be willing to visit a therapist, a coach who can guide me, help me, and support me in my journey towards living a better life. I really hope that Balabai and Rajnikant Bhai, you can make that pledge first. And I'm going to request all of you who are on the live session to please be also making those pledge. Balabai, Rajnikant Bhai, whoever wants to start.
Fine. I mean, what you just mentioned makes a lot of sense because the amount of choice, the amount of chaos, the amount of anxiety is only going to increase in the world. So there is a need for us to be able to spend a few minutes on improving our mental health. And if we are not able to do it ourselves, it is highly recommended that you take the help of a therapist, you take the help of a coach, you take the help of a meditation teacher, so that you can start learning and implementing some of the techniques that Nitin has been discussing, or Brahma Kumaris themselves have been discussing, about various ways in which we can think less, think slow, and of course, think better.
Perfect. Thank you. Rajnikant bhai. So Rajnikant bhai, we are just talking about making a pledge that I would be as open to visit a mental health practitioner as I am open to visit my doctor.
Sorry,
Okay, we are
it is I lost my connection, I think. Uh, could you please repeat the question? I lost, I think, my connection.
sure. So it's not really a question, Rajnikant bhai. It's just that a request that if you could make a pledge saying that you will be open to visit a mental health practitioner, just like we are open to visit a doctor, as and when the need arises. And when I say the need arises, this doesn't mean that when I have a problem, also when I think I have a potential to live a happier, healthier, more fulfilling life.
Yeah, sure. I mean, when we, as like we have a problem and we visit a mental health, we're supposed to also visit what is a spiritual organization or the management where we get trained for well-being, and this is important, and this is good for the human side. And surely I'll also try to visit your place to understand how it's
Perfect. Thank you. And for all of you who are thinking about me, I have my own therapist, I have my own coach, and I regularly consult them and stay in touch with them. So only because I am a practicing therapist or a coach doesn't mean that I don't need one. All of us need one, and all of us can benefit by having one. Thank you very much, all of you, for being over here, for helping us through this process, for asking your questions. It has been an amazing experience for me. I hope Balabai and Rajnikant bhai, this has been a good experience for both of you as well. And at the end, as we are closing, anything that you would like to share with all the viewers?
Nothing. We can end this with a minute's meditation.
Perfect. Rajnikant bhai, anything that you would like to add before that?
no, we're supposed to do 1 minute meditation.
All right, perfect. So just 1 minute silence, meditation, and then we end the show. Thank you.
Just sit back, relax, have both feet firmly on the ground. Don't fold your arms, don't fold your legs. Take a deep breath. Breathe slowly and deeply. Let go of any tension in any part of your body and relax yourself. As you relax, think of one positive change you would like to make in your life based on today's conversation. One positive change. Gently tell this to yourself. I am the master of my life, and I can make this positive change in my life. Gently come back to the room where you are and become conscious of your surroundings. Thank you very much. Thank you, Nitin, and
Thank
thank you,
you.
Rajnikant. Bye. Namaste.
Thank you. Bye bye. I'm just adding one last comment. I think I've just seen, so I'm answering that comment, and then I'll end this session. Just give me a moment. So thank you everyone. We are closing the session. I've just replied for the comments, and I'll see all of you next week at 7:30 with another research and another explanation of meditation that you can apply as a part of your day-to-day life. Thank you.